So hey guys, and welcome to the l'appartement foraging tutorial, or sort of workshop that we're doing for the Assemblée platform, an online space dedicated to local Groningse artists and their different endeavors during quarantine. So today we're going to be picking a selection of herbs. Right now we're in a forest in Glimmen, in the province of Drenthe, just south of Groningen, and we're going to be picking birch leaves, spruce shoots, wood sorrel, and a couple of other herbs, so stay tuned to find out what they are. So we've just walked into this forest or park, and immediately we start to notice a herb called wood sorrel. So the proper Latin name for this herb is Oxalis montana. So it sort of looks like clovers with 3 leaves, and you can eat it just raw or chuck it into a salad. And it's got this really, really delicious sort of citric, acidic flavor to it. You can recognize it also by its beautiful little flowers. They're just white and pink with a little bit of yellow on the inside. So we'll be picking a box of this stuff. All right, so now having come a little bit further into the forest, we start noticing these spruce trees. So the tips on the spruce are indeed totally edible. I believe the Latin name for this is Picea. You can recognize it because it essentially looks like a Christmas tree, right? So if you look at the branches, you'll notice that the needles aren't lying flat and going out in both directions. They're patterned all over the branch. So when you forage these tips, just be careful for your fingers because you might get spiked. But the flavor profile on these little tips is really, really similar to the wood sorrel that we just tried. It's quite rich in vitamin C, so it's quite acidic. It's got a nice lemon-lime flavor to it, and indeed sort of an undertone of pine tree. All right, so we're a little bit further now into our expedition. We're starting to notice these birch trees. So the birch is usually quite identifiable by the lateral striations in the bark. Usually older birch trees are quite noticeable and quite emblematic for Northern Europe because they've got that white bark with the little black lines. And indeed, in the north of Europe, they call it Nordic eucalyptus because the aroma from the leaves is quite citrusy and quite herbal, almost emulating eucalyptus. So aside from that, the leaves are quite identifiable by their shape as well. So this herb can be preserved in many different ways, or it can just be eaten with a salad raw if the leaves are quite young and tender. All right, so we're about halfway through the journey now, and we've started noticing garlic mustard growing around. So I believe the Latin name for this is Aliaria petiolata. And as the name suggests, garlic mustard, it's garlicky and it's in the mustard family, so it's got quite the spicy flavor. So here it is. You can eat the leaves in a salad. You can also eat the flowers in springtime when they start to bloom. It can be recognized very easily by the shape of its leaf. So this is also how the plant sprouts from the ground. So I don't know if I can find a small example here for you, but the leaves look exactly like this coming out of the undergrowth. All right, so we're in a slightly different atmosphere now. We've moved on from the forest into the Noorderplantsoen. It's just, our house is right on the corner. So we've come here to forage some wild garlic. So there's quite a big population of the plant here, as you can see. This is called Allium ursinum, I believe. and it's in the onion family, has quite the garlicky scent, quite the garlicky aroma, so you can notice it easily walking past. Identification, you can spot it with these flowers in late spring, so those should be a fairly decent indicator. You can put them in your salads, you can eat them raw. Yeah, it's a very versatile foraged ingredient.